You just know that when you see a water feature as individualistic as this, outside a house as discreet as that, inside there are going to be some incredibly quirky interiors. Standard exterior, unique interior. This eclectic mix of styles and influences is the work of Noreen and Jean-Paul van der Velde, two air stewards who regularly travel the world bringing home ideas and materials to this unusual but incredibly interesting home. Now, you've made a really, very strong statement with your interiors here.
I think we're very fortunate that we're able to travel the world with our job, and we're able to bring back a lot of items maybe that you wouldn't be able to purchase in
Shop the world. Yeah, well done.
And yeah.
Supporting local economies everywhere.
So because we can do that, we've been able to furnish the house exactly the way we want it. You see an item when you're abroad and you think that would really suit in our house. And I think we've just added our own individual sort of stamp on it, you know.
But you see, I'd say that you've gone further than that. I don't think you have just gone to a bazaar. Half the time you've actually recreated the bazaar, which is quite unusual, I think.
Yeah, it's very unusual, because Jean-Paul used to live in Spain, and we sort of would bring that influence into the house as well. We'd travel to Africa, and you know, we've brought that influence in too.
But I don't know whether you've noticed, but it's Northern Ireland outside.
It is.
You know, are there times when it doesn't quite fit?
It makes it more exciting.
It does, yeah.
Because it's from the outside, it doesn't look what it's from the inside. As soon as you walk in, it's completely different.
Do you find that you actually go on holiday in your own home? You know, you go, let's go to Spain tonight, and you know, go to a Spanish area.
It's a nice house to wake up in, isn't it? You know, we're surrounded by greenery, and when it's raining outside, you actually feel as if you're elsewhere.
Somewhere else.
And it's very warm, very homely, cozy.
He doesn't want to go out.
I don't want to leave the house.
Marvellous. Well, I am now going to go in search of Suzanne and see what she thinks. I think she might be in Marrakesh. You see, this must be kind of decorator heaven for you, because there's so much to talk about.
Well, it's certainly very interesting. What an eclectic mix of things. These people have travelled, they've brought back the things they've found, and they've put them in their home. It's very interesting.
But there's a lot of kind of arty-crafty stuff going on as well, though, which I think is very inspiring.
Well, Noreen's an artist, so she's very naturally creative. A lot of this furniture is from junk shops. They've painted it themselves, put on the handles. I think it's...
So, I mean, good ideas, for sure, but does it sort of sit together as far as you're concerned?
Well, absolutely. It shouldn't, but it actually works. There's a lot of exciting things going on in this house.
Wow, look at this.
Wow.
Like an altar.
Yeah, the bath.
Now, I like that. You see, I think that's a really nice idea. Rather than having a squitty little ensuite where everything's just a bit squeezed in, why not have a bit of space and a bit of grandeur?
Absolutely.
And a bit of a flake moment.
Yeah, this is very romantic. It's very grand, as you say. It's a really, they've made this room very palatial and warm. I love the colours, you know, the bronzes and the coppers. I think they should have put a little bit of colour on the walls.
Well,
but
it is funny the way that they have underplayed the actual walls, because they're obviously not frightened of really getting on with things. And then this sort of ship of a bed. I mean, that's a head 2/3, ding ding. But very cosy.
Yeah. And again, I love the colours. It's very welcoming in here, and it is the bedroom, and that is definitely the main focal point. Balanced well by the bath.
It's nicely done architecture. So basically, this is a business class boudoir, isn't it? This is flatbed luxury all the way.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, well, I'm now going to go and find Michael and see what he thinks of the bathroom. And there's absolutely no sense that that kind of individualistic approach to design runs out of steam in the bathroom. Because this, I mean, this is extraordinary, isn't it? Looking at things like the shower enclosure over there, the bath, it's all real deal designer kit.
Well, the quality's good, isn't it?
The quality's amazing. But then there's pebbles.
The pebbles, like the stone floor downstairs, very individual. This has been decorated very much with the inhabitants in mind. If they were thinking of marketing it, they would have to think of who their target purchasers were.
Possibly the Flintstones.
Possibly.
They like rock, you know.
That's right. It would be a good house for lots of entertaining. But in certain instances, when a house is going to be marketed, I would recommend that people tone things down a little bit to widen the actual audience. That's right.
But I suppose in a way, it would be down to you, wouldn't it? It would be down to you to find people who were of the same kind of crazy individuality.
It would. But people who would like this house would sometimes have a creative streak, and there's not much room for them to be more creative.
It's not exactly what you'd call a blank canvas, is it?
It's not.
It's a very full canvas.
It's quite full, yes.
Very dense. Couldn't be fuller.
No.
I'm now going to go downstairs and find out what Des thinks of the architecture. Des. Now, of course, it's very interesting, this one, because not really an enormous amount going on with the outside of the house, but so much inside.
Yeah, inside. This sort of place, a client would come to me and say, we don't want any skirtings, we want to put our patio floor inside, we don't want any doors. You know, I'd have to say, I think they're mad. But whenever you get in here, there's something about it. You know, it just looks so fresh and so bright. And it works for some reason. I'm just not sure why, but it just works. I think maybe it's this plastering.
Well, I mean, I'm going to mention the plastering because I'm delighted you're into the vibe, but I'm quite surprised because there's a lot of this that's not terribly genuine, is it? I mean, there's a lot of sort of fantasy going on.
It is created,
here.
yeah, and the walls.
But maybe there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, a lot of houses are that they're putting a set into a piece of architecture that doesn't really go inside and out, doesn't really go here. But the thing that impresses me the most is probably the plasterwork in the hall, because we're trying to create something here that is really rough and looks like a stone wall, and plasterers are into precision and into something that's straight. So I can imagine a few discussions about this, but what they've ended up with, and this, you know, it might not be my cup of tea, but it works.
Well, I was going to say that you're going to do it at home.
I'll not be
Do you
doing
like
it at
it that
home.
much?
No, I don't like it that much, but I do like what they've done, and it works in here.
There's definitely, I mean, there's such a strong feeling here, and I think all of us are desperate to be invited to the next party. Because whatever happens here, you know it would be a complete laugh. So there it was, house number 2, Jean-Paul and Noreen's extremely exotic, well-travelled home. It's now up to the judges to confer and decide who's going forward.